We are working breaking news on the coronavirus here in Rhode Island. Today, the Department of Health announcing 7 more deaths due to COVID-19.
There were also 269 new confirmed cases.
And today's deaths ranged in age from their 50s to their 90s. That total now stands at 233.
Over 7,000 people have tested positive for COVID-19 in Rhode Island since March 1st, but the number of new cases was down sharply over the weekend compared with most of last week.
And during her daily news briefing, the governor also expressed her desire to lift the stay-at-home order when it expires on May 8th, but said that action depends on data collected over the next 2 weeks.
Governor Raimondo also offered the first details on how her plan to reopen the economy would work. Eyewitness News reporter Kim Kalunian is live at the State House with the details on that and what else Governor Raimondo said today. Kim?
Well, Shannon and Mike, today the governor unveiled a 3-phase approach to reopening the state, and she said she hopes to implement the first phase after May 8th. Following that, though, it's unclear just how quickly things will move.
We're going to do whatever it takes as a state, as individuals, and as your leaders to make it so that on May 9th, I can say, I've lifted the stay-at-home order.
Governor Gina Raimondo says she can make no guarantees, but she's hopeful that if people continue to abide by the stay-at-home order until May 8th, some restrictions can be eased.
If there's another spike, we're going to have to pull back. I hope we never again have to get to a place where it's a complete pullback, but I can't promise you that won't happen.
The governor unveiling the state's multi-phase approach on the website reopeningri.com. Among the things in the first phase, social gatherings could increase from a limit of 5 people to 10. Retail locations could allow in-store pickup, and there would be a pilot opening for dine-in restaurants and salons.
It's not going to be a flick of the switch. I am not going to come here on May 9th and say, everybody go back to work, back to normal. That is not going to happen.
Phases 2 and 3 would see even more restrictions lifted, but state health leaders say people would still need to wear face masks and keep 6 feet of distance between each other. Health Department Director Dr. Nicole Alexander-Scott says all the factors to determine how quickly the state moves through these phases are based in data.
Public health guidance, data, and science is what's driving every step for Rhode Island.
So you might be wondering about travel, gyms, restaurants, churches, beaches, and parks. Well, the governor says she knows there are going to be a lot of questions, and she says just hang tight. She's going to offer more specific guidance on all of those things over the next 2 weeks. Meanwhile, we have a lot more specifics on the governor's phased plan right now on our website, WPRI.com. Live at the State House, I'm Kim Kalunian, Eyewitness News. Today, the governor unveiled a 3-phase approach to reopening the state, and you might have some questions after seeing her proposal about what's going to happen specifically with places like gyms, casinos, even parks and beaches. Well, today our Ted Nesi asked the governor about churches, and she says she understands there are going to be a lot more questions like that one.
I'm going to be coming back to you later this week, next week. Remember, we have 2 weeks ahead of us. So I'm going to try to come back to you. Here's what we're doing on childcare. Here's what I recommend on churches. Here's what we recommend for office-based settings, and put that information out as we're developing it, and in a way that I think is easily understandable. Churches will be a category. I think I'm very likely to ask churches in the same way that we did with hospitals and colleges to show us your plans. I would say I cannot foresee a scenario in which we'll be able to go to church in phase 1, at least not in the way you think of it as going to church. What we're going to try to do is figure out a way to allow some services, maybe at the end of phase 1, maybe at the beginning of phase 2, with just a whole lot more social distancing and cleaning protocol and different regulations. So long-winded way of saying, my goal would be in the month of May to allow church and religious gatherings in some form or fashion. And we're going to work really hard in the next couple weeks to figure out how to do that safely.
And the governor said today she hopes to have some more guidance specifically on parks and beaches later this week. We do have much more on this three-phase approach to reopening the state right now on our website, WPRI.com, including which metrics state leaders are looking at to determine when to move from one phase to the next. Live at the State House, I'm Kim Kalunian, Eyewitness News.